You see, when we say that some of few celebrities in Africa are poor, people think that we are talking about money. No, you can have a fat bank account and still be poor in your mind, because poverty has to do with the mind. What we saw display at the Grammy, in the way you guys appeared, okay, just concluded that you guys are victims of self-inflicted inferiority complex if you cannot represent your culture. You must understand something, that we are descendants of a continent with a great well of culture, history, and heritage. Our traditional attire tells a story, communicates and speaks of identity. It commands pride. And when you abandon it, especially on a stage where the whole world is watching, you risk sending a message that our culture is not worthy of global admiration. You make good music, good sound, but you don't read. This book, okay, this book is titled The Roots. The Roots. You don't know your roots. You have to know your root for you to appreciate it. A river that forgets its source will dry up. The African proverb said that, and the African proverb also say, if you do not know where you are going, you should at least know where you are coming from. You should know where you are coming from. Then you will know where you are going. Okay, listen, pay attention, Africa. You see, many people are talking about how Nigerian celebrities appeared at just concluded Grammy, how they were looking in terms of their appearance. Everyone is talking about it in Africa, and many people are asking the questions: why are they all talking about Nigerian celebrities, how they appeared at the likes of Ashake, Yemela, they being an exception, Thames, and the way they appeared on that place? Okay, why is everyone talking about only Nigerian artists? Okay, that's what many people are asking. I will tell you why. Pay attention. You see, I am not one who usually talks about Grammy, because I don't really pay attention to Grammy award. Okay, and but for some reasons, I usually pay some scrupulous attention to see how Africa is being represented on that platform where the world is watching. And yesterday, I happened to be in a meeting with some young Pan Africans talking about how to move Africa forward. Okay, and the issue of how Africa was being represented was talked about, and it was so disgraceful when we talked about African artists coming from West Africa and Nigeria, and it was so disgraceful. You see, there is this unspoken approval when it comes to Afrobeat in Africa, that the whole of African continent, the 54 independent sovereign African states, has given a go-ahead to Nigerian artists, that they are the ones who lead the Afrobeat. Forget about the competition from other African countries, but bro, Nigeria has a way of putting Africa in that map when it comes to Afrobeat. You might argue that their sound do not really reflect the African culture, okay? But they have a way of putting Africa in that map when it comes to music and Afrobeat, because they know how to do what they know how to do best. So to whom much is given, much is expected. We expected a lot to come from them. We expected the display of African culture. Okay, I was expecting one of these artists to, have this kind of dress that represent the struggle happening currently in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. I was expecting something like that, but it never happened. They all wanted to appear more westernized than the westerners themselves. Listen, we are not asking you to go to Grammy and start speaking Hausa language or Yoruba or Igbo language or Swahili. No, we are all victims of this colonized relic of a language. Okay, they won't understand when you start speaking your native language, just as my listeners will not understand when I start speaking in my own language. Do you understand? So we have to communicate with English. We understand that one. But when it comes to display of culture in that global stage, you owe it to us to represent us in our culture. But most of you feel like you owe anyone nothing, that you got to where you are through your own hard work. That's notwithstanding, but you must know that you are representing a continent. You are. And this message is not just to Nigerian artists alone, to all those presenting our cable and in that world stage. You must understand something. You must understand something, that most of you at that global stage during the Grammy Award, Yemi Alade being an exception, you all looked like ragamuffins, like children who do not have one who look out for them. You were looking so timid. The peers, the tattoos all over your face, the dressing, you were looking timid. So timid because you could not own your own heritage. You could not own your own heritage. You couldn't. And that is being primitive and naive. You see the way Yemi Alade appeared. That is how a good daughter of Akebulan should appear. It doesn't mean that you should not wear other people's culture or you should not appear the way you appear. But when you are called on the global stage is an opportunity to put Africa on the map. You must understand something, that we are descendants of a continent with a great well of culture, history, and heritage. Our traditional attire tells a story, communicates and speaks of identity. It commands pride. And when you abandon it, especially on a stage where the whole world is watching, you risk sending a message that our culture is not worthy of global admiration. You cannot trash our culture on the essence or on the basis of fleeting approval from people you believe that are better than you. No, you must own your culture. You must embrace it. Being successful is not just about being seen or heard. No, it's about being recognized for whom you truly are. There's a lot of culture that you guys have not tapped into. It don't represent Africa well when it comes to that place. In as much as your music speaks about Africa, your clothes should also speak about Africa. You cannot be singing about Africa, then when it comes to how you appear, it's nothing to write home about. You guys appear like ragamuffins. Because when you put all those things you put on your face and all those whatnot, you are trying to be accepted. You are pleading to be accepted for them to accept you. They know you don't own your culture. None of you appear like a king. How do you think it will be when you appear like Urban Vanwan and Baisi, and you appear well like representing the African Benin culture or the Igbo culture or the Yoruba culture? Do you see the way Lukman appeared when he went to get the African Best Award? This guy was raised in the West, but he represents African culture. That is a wisdomization. Okay, you guys should do better. You should really do better. You must be proud of what we eat and how we eat it. You must be proud of what we wear and how we wear it. Represent Africa on the global stage. Represent Africa, because the reason why you were invited on that place is that we give you the echoes of sound. Do you see the way Angelique Kidjo usually appears when she goes for Grammy Award? That is an African queen, for crying out loud. That is how we appear. Decent, neat, proud. That is African queen. And none of you have taken the stage of being an African king. You can do better. But the problem is that most of you do not read. The generation of Angelique Kidjo, you see, they are the celebrities in Africa who read. You make good music, good sound, but you don't read. This book, okay, this book is titled The Roots. The Roots. You don't know your roots. You have to know your root for you to appreciate it. A river that forgets its source will dry up. The African proverb said that, and the African proverb also say, if you do not know where you are going, you should at least know where you are coming from. You should know where you are coming from. Then you will know where you are going. The African proverb also said, he who does not know one thing knows another, but he who knows nothing of his own people knows nothing at all. Get a book and read. This is the root that tells a story of Kunta Kinte, the boy who was enslaved from the Gambia, and how he traced his root back. Kunta Kinte, the son of Pinta Kunta Kinte. Okay, this book was bought in July 11th, 1980. Most of you are successful, beautiful when it comes to money, but your mind is shibbolite. You need to read and update yourself so that when you meet your foreign counterpart, you don't feel inferior. You are the king. You represent people like Mensa Musa of Mali, people like that, powerful men. You represent people like that, Patrice Lumumba. You present people like Thomas Sankara. You present people like Kwame Nkrumah. Then why should you appear to be accepted in nonsense validation? Wisdom Africa is a principal thing. Make sure you request a book and get a book, okay? This message go to all African artists all over there. We love you and we care about you, and it will please us when you start recognizing who you are. Wisdom Africa is a principal thing. Aha.